Welcome back. Thank you so much for streaming with us this afternoon here in the 3 p.m. hour. I'm Tom Haines, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom as authorities release new images of the person they are looking for in the assassination of conservative political activist Charlie Kirk yesterday at a rally in Utah. We're joined now by somebody who can talk a lot about what happened in Utah yesterday, the assassination of Kirk, former FBI agent, cybersecurity expert Eric ONeill. Eric, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. It turns out that authorities have extensive video. They even have some prints and the weapon used in this shooting. Sounds like they have a lot of forensic evidence to go on so far.
Hey, Tom, it's good to be here. And you're right. They have a wealth of forensic evidence, so much so that I suspect that we will see the shooter caught before the end of today. They're definitely closing in. Not only do they have the weapon, which is incredibly useful, but they have a handprint, they have a forearm print, and a shoe print. And all of that allows the FBI to paint a forensic picture of the shooter. They can learn information that you might not suspect from just that sort of information.
How well planned do you think that this shooting was yesterday? I mean, we're talking about 200 yards, which was actually a little bit further away from the assassination attempt on President Trump, from where Charlie Kirk was speaking, from a rooftop up there. Obviously, there had to be some plans to go into where all of this happened and the distance that this shooter took to hit Kirk. He had to be a pretty good shooter.
It's a long shot with a bolt-action rifle, which means that he had one shot to make to hit Charlie Kirk. But with a bolt-action rifle, you would have to load another bullet before you could fire again. So knowing that Charlie Kirk had close protection, that means you get that one shot. And as soon as that first rifle report happens, his close protection is going to be pulling him out of the firing line. He also would have had to dial in the weapon, make sure that it is the sights are set or the scope is set to fire at that distance. So he certainly planned this attack, and he's going to have skill. That is not a shot that someone who's just handed a rifle can make. I've shot a lot of long guns. I could probably hit at that distance, but it would be, even for me, a give or take. And for someone who's never shot before, pretty impossible. Now, it's also interesting that he's shooting with a bolt-action rifle as opposed to the typical firearm we see in these cases, which is like an AR-15, where he could have gotten off 2 or 3 shots at the same time he fired that one. So this suggests to me this is an experienced person who carefully planned this out, not only to lay in wait and shoot Charlie Kirk at that opportune moment when he was sitting down and not moving, but then escape and get away.
I don't know if you saw the images. Obviously you have. The suspect wearing a backpack. Does this type of weapon collapse, fold up? Could it have been waiting for him up on that roof? Could he have left it there before the rally happened? Like, how did he get it up there without it being on him in that surveillance picture that the FBI released?
Yeah, I reached out to a friend who's an expert in this to answer this question. And there aren't a lot of those bolt-action rifles that collapse in order to put them in a backpack. Those are expensive. And if he has that, then he definitely planned this out. And it looks like those pictures were taken in the stairwell, which means that they were before he abandoned the guns in the woods out back behind the university. So he would have had to have it at some point. I like your theory that perhaps he was there the night before. Then again, those cameras would have caught him at some point, and you would think that someone would have looked at the tape the night before and said, "There's somebody with a long gun walking through our halls." So that's something we may have to find out from the FBI once they finally do capture the shooter.
So as authorities, Eric, look for this suspect, what are the chances that he's A, still in that area, or B, he's gone? I mean, you have Provo Airport not too far away, a bus station not too far away. Do you think he's still in that area or he's fled?
I suspect he's gone to ground in the area. The FBI is very good at quickly cordoning off an area. And the first thing they lock down are public transit. So it would have been hard for him to get on a flight. I suspect that they had images fairly quickly, even if they didn't release them to the public right away until they verified that they truly believe that this is the suspect. So I'm once again, I'm betting that they catch him before sundown today.
How important will facial recognition technology be? I don't know a lot about it, but getting hits on people's faces now that they have a picture of the suspect's face.
I'm sure that the FBI is using what's called NGI, or next generation identification. And what it does is it's a massive biometric and identity repository, if you want to think of it that way. It can correlate fingerprints, palm prints, latent prints, things like mug shots, and of course, photos against a huge database, but also pictures that are out there to try to identify an individual from even a grainy shot from a surveillance camera.
Yeah, just to bring it home, we had a suspect here a couple of years ago, I want to say, who opened fire in Midtown Atlanta, and they found her at the airport. Not only was she wearing the same shirt that she did when she opened fire, which was a very loud print shirt, but I think that they were able to use cameras in the airport to track this suspect. So this technology, in addition to these flock cameras that we have now, are really incredible.
Yeah, it's incredible technology, and it's using AI in order to do all of the analytic work that would take a person hours and hours or days to do. And the AI can match those recognized faces with others in moments, and it's getting better and better at this.
Now, this is perhaps a little bit out of your realm of expertise, societal behavior, but where are we sort of as a society when political violence like this seems to be repeatedly erupting? I mean, I know if you put it in historical context, the 1960s was another volatile time, but a lot of people are asking questions like that right now.
Now, I'm asking the same questions. I hope that anyone who saw this feels the same feelings of shock and horror that I feel, and it seems like you do as well. Regardless of your political leanings, the fact that a gunman climbed a roof and shot someone who, stood for the freedom to express what you want to say should be repugnant to all of us. The basis of the United States is that freedom to express the ideas you have. Now, you can't go as far as shouting fire in a crowded theater, but right up to that line, we should be able to express our ideals. And the idea is that in this diversity of ideas, we find the best ones, but we can't find them unless we debate them. Charlie Kirk was about that debate, and it seems that he was silenced for that.
Yeah, it is just so shocking. Young people particularly hit hard by this, given that was the audience and the demographic that he spoke to most frequently on college campuses. You have a book, it's called Spies, Lies, and Cybercrime, that's set to come out next month. So as a cybersecurity expert, maybe you could talk to me a little bit about the aftermath of this shooting. I have young children at home, and they were the first to see these horrific images scrolling through their... This is how they found out that Charlie Kirk had been assassinated, by these grisly pictures that had showed up on social media. I'm all for the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of information, but is there a way we can protect children online from being exposed to shocking images like that? Or is that just the kind of society we live in today?
Yeah, and Tom, you're raising an incredibly salient point. The fact is that my first thought when I saw that happen yesterday is, oh God, my teenagers are going to see this on social media. Because social media does not have the safeguards and the care that maybe a traditional news station like yours would take before showing this sort of information. You remember when we grew up, on the evening news, it would say you should maybe have your children leave the room before seeing this, right? Yep. Social media is direct, it's immediate, and it doesn't discriminate age. What my wife and I have done with our youngest, with our 12-year-old, is she is not on social media. And that's what parents need to do. Social media for young kids is a terrible, terrible idea. It causes all sorts of problems. And in my book, Spies, Lies, and Cybercrime, I delve into the ways that social media, the use of AI, are leading to a poor way of shaping the future of our youth, but also leading to immense amounts of exploitation by cyber criminals who know that they have pristine credit and that they're very susceptible to being deceived.
Is there something that these social media companies can do? I know there's legislation moving through Congress right now to to protect kids from seeing things like that? Is it, do you indicate on their phone that they're of a certain age, and so images like that won't make their way through, or can't we help it anymore?
Well, here's the problem. Like Meta, for example, and in one of the more famous, Instagram, now has teen accounts that are controlled by parents. But you, as the parent, have to set that up. You have to be involved with your kids. You need to be in the middle of that social media and your children, and you have to talk to them about it. And then you have the issue of your kid just signing up as somebody that, using a different age. And it's not like the social media accounts are asking for your driver's license or credit card before they're giving you an account. So the most important protection a child has against seeing these, or the cybercrime, the massive cybercrime that occurs across social media, up into the point of kids committing suicide because of exploitation, is the parent standing between that danger and their child.
And inspiring some of these acts of violence among these perpetrators.
Certainly.
Eric ONeill predicting here that we might have a suspect in custody by the end of the day. Let's hope so. Eric, the author of Spies, Lies, and Cybercrime, that book coming out next month. Thanks so much for being with us this afternoon. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.